Well, it's Thursday, so that means another Titanic build today on Brickscale Studio. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I am always grateful that you are here and hope you're enjoying this build as much as I am. So today is sort of a calm before the storm episode. We finish building the engine itself, and then next week we get into some crazy detailing with lots of thin little pipes and microscopic details that like you can barely see, like I can barely see. So so today is sort of the last chill episode until next week. We also get into, as I mentioned last week with the Lego side, the parts count jumps way up because we start building 2 rows of portholes on each side of the ship and then some hull pieces. So lots of small pieces for the porthole build, but not nearly as small as the engine details that we get into next week for the scale model. You'll see what I mean. They're totally crazy. So let's get into this build and we will talk about it after. Here we are at issue 29. So here is the magazine. Oh, a Titanic comic. That's cool. And then apparently there was a Doctor Who episode that also featured the Titanic. And then again, as I mentioned in the previous episode, we are going to be continuing on working on this second engine, adding all the, sort of putting it all together. So this is our where we were at in the last episode. So let's get parts pack number 29. Let me make sure I got the right one here. Yep. We have the shaft, and then we have the crankshaft. So this piece, the crankshaft, is metal. This is plastic. And then we have some... what do we got here? We have stop plates in here. We also have distribution valves. We have cylinder heads. And then we also have the flywheel. And then again, we have some CM screws. All right, so we'll just leave these things in the bag until we need them. So it looks like the first thing we need to bring back these pieces from issue 28. And then we need the crankshaft here. So this is showing these laid out with the hook side up, like so. And then we have our crankshaft. And it's going to go this way. So on this end, the little thing here is quite thick, and here it's sort of tiered and thinner. We want the thinner end over here, and we want this very first little pivot thing here to be facing this way. So once we have that all lined up, we are just going to go down the line. So this first one goes on the first one here. Then we skip these 2. No, I'm sorry. We skip this one and we go over here to the second one. And this one is going to go on like that. Skip this one, and next we go here, like so. Skip this one, and then we go to the end. All right, so that is on there like so. All right, so we are going to bring back the starboard columns. That is going to be this one. So this side, the cylinders have pegs on them, and this one they have holes. So you want the one with the pegs, and we want this to go just like so. And yeah, this is the kind of kooky part. So we want to take this and sort of lay it in here like so. So all of these sit in these little ridges here. And then we take the other side and we put that on top. And it kind of just presses together, if I remember correctly. Yes. So it presses together like so. We want to make sure that all of our rods are in there. So that just presses together. So now we want to take these pieces, which are cylinder heads and distribution valves. So these are press fit. It does not say that we need to glue them. So the other ones are in this bag here. We have 2 of these, which are the distribution valves. And then we have 4 of these wheels, and there are 2 large ones, 1 medium and 1 small. And the lugs on them are different sizes. One's thicker than the other. So the first one we want is one of these large ones. And let's see. Yeah, it is going to go in on the end here. And again, they say these are just pressed to fit. And then we want a distribution valve. That goes there. And these sort of serve dual purposes because there's one hole on one side and one on the other, so this will hold this all together. Let's see, now we want the medium. Alright. Also be careful, there's little pegs that stick up and they like poke into your finger. Alright, so then we skip over there. Now we want the small one. And this one, it doesn't matter. The pegs are the same size. Okay. And then another distribution valve. This one going in this way. Whoops. A thicker peg over here. And then our last one is going just like so. And then I'm just kind of tilting that. So those are all in there securely. So let's set this aside for now. And now we want to take the shaft, and this one is symmetrical, but as far as the ends go, but on one side you've got these raised little rectangles, and on the other side they are flush with the rod. So you want to make sure you orient this so that the raised rectangles are facing up. All right, so then there are little indents, and these are just gonna go right into the indent here. Very simple, no guesswork. You don't have to worry about skipping this, skipping that, no big deal. Okay, so we got those in. All right, so now we want to bring our piece over that we worked on last time. And again, it is cautioning us to have the thin side of this metal shaft on your left. let's see, we're going to flip this over like so. And these should slot into the empty, on the cylinder shaft here, the empty ones that we didn't use from the previous issue. So yes, that is the case. So I'm just gonna, they show this going this way. I'm just gonna turn it this way. It's just easier for me. All right, so we got those in. All right, and this is the crazy part. So now we're just gonna flip this up like so, and then this, there are little holes here, and those push in, and they are secure. You do not need any glue. So that goes in just like that. All right, so now we want to flip this up. So these two pieces with the little sort of raised clips are the same, but these two are different. One has a little carve out, and we want that one to go on this side. And these are, yeah, one is a little bit longer than the other, so that's going to help you. Okay, so that's going to go down in there like so. This is going to go on here, and that's going in with CM screws. And that is in. So then the next one, obviously, we just go in on this side. All right, so now we have those on. And the only thing we have left is to put our little flywheel on, and it is notched. There's like a D shape here. All right, and that turns our motor. So awesome. All right, and it says that we can put a little glue on there, but that seems to be holding, so I'm going to leave it for now. So that's issue 29. So let me put this aside. Here is issue 30. Another beautifully done magazine. These pictures are just stunning. And it seems like in the last few issues we've had movie versions. They're calling out movie versions. Apparently this one, Raise the Titanic 1980, was not a success. So yeah, looks like we're going to be continuing with our engine here. So let me get parts pack 30. Just right here, double check. Yep, 30. All right, so let's see what we got. So we have the base for the engine. We have the catwalk, 30C. So in this pack, we have exhaust valves and an end plate. And then it looks like the rest is all screws. So let me get those open and then we'll get into the issue. All right, so we want to take our engine assembly. We have our catwalk here. So we want to turn this up. And we want, there's an end that has these ladders on them, and we want that to go toward our flywheel there. So this is just going to sit just like so. And we're going to put these in with 4 EM screws. All right, perfect. Now we want to take our catwalk. And there is a part here that has this side has sort of a dugout portion, and this side has a little lip. We want the dugout portion on the flywheel side. and we want the little lip part on this side. All right, so again, that's going to go over what we just put on, like so. And that's going in with FM screws. All right, so that is in there. And then, let's see. Then in the remaining holes, we want to fill in with our AP screws. All right, so that is definitely not coming out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 screws holding all this into the bottom. So we are good there. Okay, so now we need these little parts here. All right, so these are all the same. So let me grab my tweezers here. And these are quite thin on the top. So there are some holes up here that we are just going to pop those into. Now it doesn't say to glue, and these seem to be popping in and holding pretty good, so I don't think we will need glue. Nope. All right. And then this we want to go on the end here, just like so. And it does say to put a little super glue to hold that in, so I am going to grab my glue and just put a little glue on these lugs here. Like so. Okay, perfect. So that is in. And that is all there is for issue 30. So we have this engine here. So let's move on to the Lego side. Here we are on the Lego side. So if you remember last issue, we started working on this component, and we're still working on this section of the ship here. We've got some hull pieces in. So let's continue. We're going to be doing steps 211 to 225. All right, that is step 225. So again, we just keep building up. We built this section here with the portholes. Kind of tedious because we did this twice, one on this side, one on this side. But this porthole technique, I think is pretty genius the way that they do that. So we have that. So we've built up this whole section on both sides. And then this is what this is looking like. So we have the decks here. All right, so that is it for the Lego portion. All right, so let's recap really quick. So again, on the Lego portion, we built up basically this much. All of these decks here, we put on this whole side, on both sides. And then on the scale model side, we finished off this second engine. And we have our little turning here. So that's very cool. So that will do it for episode 15. So that does it for our second engine build as far as the engine itself. So it's pretty similar. Well, it's exactly what we've already done on the first engine that we built in like episode 3 or 4 way back in April or whatever. But starting with next week's episode, we will be in uncharted territory, and we'll be adding a bunch of details and pipes and pumps and rails and catwalks and all sorts of stuff. So it was a very taxing episode, but the end result does look nice. And then this week on the Lego side, those portholes, while a little tedious because we had to build 2 sets of them, I think the technique is very cool and they look great. Plus we got some hull pieces. So I think we're going to be getting close to finishing up this sort of first phase of the Lego build. As I mentioned, which you probably don't remember, and I do not blame you, in our first video, or our introduction video to this series, the Lego Titanic is kind of built in 3 segments. Obviously, we're working on the front segment, so it's the front of the boat, and then we'll work on the middle of the boat, and then the tail end of the boat. I think we are coming down to getting close to being done with the first segment. Looking at my parts left in that first box. Also, if you remember when we unboxed the Titanic, there was the big box and then 3 boxes inside that. So each box corresponds with a section. So we're still in the first box, but we're getting close to the bottom of it. I think there's only a few bags left in there. So we're getting kind of close, so that will be exciting when we sort of close the book on that first segment and move into the second segment. So let's do our summary really quick. Kind of got rambling on there for a little bit, but let's see. For the scale model side, 13 steps and 20 parts, so pretty chill. For the Lego side, 20 steps, but 290 parts. That's all those little parts for the porthole builds for both sides. So total to date, 174 steps and 311 parts for the scale model. And for the Lego side, 413 steps, and then our part count jumps up to 1,720. So again, next week on Titanic, we're going to have that engine detailing episode. So it's going to be a longer episode, I think about 25-30 minutes. There was a lot of little pipes, and it just sort of, in the first issue we do, there was a bunch, and then the second, oh my gosh, there were so many teeny tiny little parts. Pumps, wheels, dials, I mean, all sorts of stuff. So definitely stay tuned for that. This Saturday, again, Batmobile, the parts are MIA. So we're going to be doing a mini Batmobile. So instead of building the full-size scale model 1966 Batmobile, we're going to be doing a little mini one that's about this big. So that'll be on Saturday. So remember to like, share, subscribe, comment. It really helps get the channel out there. And again, we're trying to reach 500 subscribers so we can do a Lego giveaway. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It's totally free. And until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I'll see you soon.